Welcome to Isn't It Obvious, where things are obvious. That's going to be the intro.
Welcome back to Isn't It Obvious?
Isn't it obvious?
Phil, Sarah, and Micah.
Thanks for taking my intro, you jerk face. Obviously.
So, Sarah, you have an idea.
I have a topic.
Okay.
Right. So, topic for today, spirituality.
Oh,
Isn't it obvious that spirituality is just fucking bullshit?
I was not expecting that.
I was.
Really?
I totally was.
This is going to be, wow, okay.
Totally unnecessary bullshit.
To what extent, I guess? Like, in terms of spirituality generally, or like...
Religion
specifically.
I mean, generally religion, and spirituality. It's all just garbage woo.
Because I feel that there could be a reasonable assumption. A reasonable assumption that due to the fact that our brains generate electricity, that other living beings also generate electricity, that spirituality can be this weird miasma of interacting with these different fields.
Oh, are you saying that you can? Because this is actually a study. You can look it up. You can generate a quote unquote spiritual experience by shooting electrodes into your brain. Just saying, you can. It's proven.
Yeah, and shock therapy does wonders for the brain too.
That's totally different.
But
you can stimulate certain specific areas of the brain where you can
I don't
stimulate.
mean to just interject.
Sorry, anyway,
but
yes.
I have to say this, that I was watching Pokemon with a friend. This is when I was like 12 years old, right? And Ash fell down and Pikachu went on him, shocked him back, and then Ash was okay again. And then my friends, how does that even work? And I quickly said, shock therapy. And that was the best joke I've ever made in my entire life. And I just want to thank Pokemon. I want to thank Jesus. I want to thank... Okay, my honest question to you, Sarah, is that like, are you seriously this is a serious question, in good faith question. Uh-huh. Do you find spirituality and religion to be equivalent, or do you make a distinguishment between the two?
Good question. I'd probably say they're two generally different things. They have the same basis in, I guess, like, they're similar, and they have the same place in human experience in some ways. They serve the same purpose in some ways, but I don't think they're totally equivalent.
What purposes do they share, in your opinion, between like...
That warm, fuzzy feeling you get to feel safe about that there's a plan in the universe because the universe is indifferent and doesn't give a shit about you, so it makes you feel better.
Okay.
So, am I being a little...
This is like
this is the
thing
here?
where people want to come in and unravel and be like, wow, I want to think about impending doom and the fact that the universe just gives zero shits about me. I am okay with this.
Okay. So I know it sounds dark. I know it sounds dark and hopeless and awful, but it's not. It really isn't, because it's so full of potential. Not having religion, not having spirituality. It's life is what you make it. If you have the mentality to do good in the world, right? And good is, of course, a morality thing. We can get into that some other time. But if, for the sake of argument, you're trying to do good in the world, you don't need religion or spirituality to do that. You can make your own purpose. You don't need God to define it. You don't need a higher power to define it. Well, and that's what I think. But at the same time, I'm also aware that other people would disagree.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that
the Earth is flat.
Okay, get out of my house. That was a joke, I hope.
Well,
okay, now get out of my house.
I think the idea of that spirit... I mean, do you think that it's okay when someone says, look, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual? Like, what do you think about when someone says that? Micah, tell me how you really feel about that laughter.
All right, go ahead, Micah.
Clearly you take that with great respect when you say it.
And crystals have power, too.
Yep.
Yeah, no, anybody who says I'm spiritual but I'm not religious is like saying I'm conservative but not Republican.
Yeah. In a way, it's similar.
It's the same thing. You just don't like the baggage that comes with what you
don't like the
actually
rules.
are.
You don't like the rules. You just like the feelings.
Yeah. Like, I am totally for low taxes and no income tax and abortion being illegal, but I'm not a Republican.
I'm totally for God and Jesus. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. I don't know any of that. But the whole wearing two different types of fabric and that being a taboo is, I don't give a so I'm spiritual.
Right, that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
But there's also that parent who's like, I'm spiritual, but I'm leaning towards Buddhist. With someone that grew up in, suburban Michigan as
there's a lot of practices in Buddhism that are fair.
But it's the romancing of not having...
Freaking meditate.
The controlling nature of religion leaves kind of a foul taste in your mouth. So they like the idea of...
Feeling connected.
Yeah, that connected, that bigger being, that sense of purpose that I'm here for a reason.
Power.
But it's not because of the Jesus or the God figure or the Holy Spirit or not what I was raised on. I believe in something, but my rebellious nature, because I don't like my parents to a certain extent, is I don't believe in what I grew up with.
But I'm not rebellious enough to not, or I'm not, I'm not self-aware enough or thoughtful enough to think that, maybe it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I was 12?
I'd say as an atheist.
Yeah. I was 12, and I had that, atheist epiphany at a Lutheran church that we went to pretty much every Sunday. That was just stand up, open book, pastor says something, we respond. Pastor says something, then all of a sudden I just looked around, and just all these people just holding a book in front of them, resuscitating the same thing. It has no meaning to them.
Robots.
Yeah, it's just going through the motion that this is what you're supposed to do.
People are comfortable
and for
in
some
rituals.
reason, a god will be like, I got your back, Steve.
Oh, you need to pass that exam? I got your back,
Yeah.
Steve.
Okay, that's...
Oh, wait. Big game's on Friday. You got to pick. Are you going to pass that science class or are you going to get that touchdown?
Fun fact, every Super Bowl winner always thanks God.
Because God loved them. That's why.
Apparently.
Because with all the CTE, God seems real to them.
Okay, I got to...
So what about the losers? Weren't they praying to God too?
Not hard enough.
And which God?
Not
I'm sorry,
hard enough.
I'm getting a little...
They didn't...
Getting a little...
They didn't do the proper rituals necessary to curry God's favor. No.
Yeah, crazy thing. For proper Catholicism, you still need animal sacrifices. They don't tell you that.
That's why it's really hard to eat lamb. I'm just saying, it's
It
super
isn't hard for me.
It's super delicious, but
super delicious.
Good God, good Lord.
But there's other reasons why you may not want to do that.
Although, do I have to say this, guys? I'm feeling pretty spiritual.
Okay.
But are you religious?
I'm not religious.
Spoiler alert, I don't think any of us here... Well, wait, Phil, are you religious or spiritual in any way?
I am.
Okay.
I'm not being devil's advocate here, because...
That's my job.
Thank you, devil.
I'm fine with that. I do have a...
I'm the indifferent universe over here.
So, for the sake of establishing our platforms, to what extent are you a believer?
I am one of those... can't figure out the pattern believer or fearful believer, right? Which is one of the worst kinds.
So you believe in a concept of hell, so you do enough not to go there?
No, more I think that the problem I have is that there's an unknown in my heart that I can't resolve.
Are you playing both sides? So, if there is a heaven, you can go to it for believing? Because that seems like a cop-out. I'm sorry.
No,
because that last...
I'm kidding.
Whatever it is.
I'm looking off to the side because I don't know how to express this, but over the past, I would say 2 weeks, I've been having this kind of existential...
God in 2 weeks? Wow, that's
Hold on, Micah. Let him finish his
Sorry.
Right, I heard this... I heard this CNN report, I think, or maybe it was on NPR. Don't judge me. And the idea was that people typically have this sort of shield in their brain when it comes to death, right? When someone dies, apparently the brain protects them to say, that only happens to other people. Don't worry, man, you got it, right? Because otherwise, if the brain had realized that, no, you too will expire, things start to kind of unravel quickly. And then I read the comment section, and everyone kept on saying, shield broke at 10, help.
Wait, Phil, are you telling me you don't think about your imminent demise ever?
Not imminent, inevitable.
Inevitable?
Impending
Thank
doom.
you. That's a better word.
And I had lived a very blissful...
All the time.
Yeah, so
and ignorant life Up until 2 weeks ago, when I really had thought about it, and I was like, oh shoot, like this isn't good. And I can't get this thought out of my head. It's just, sometimes if I had one of those Apple Watch heart monitors, I bet it would beat 200 beats per minute. Like, there's just a sense of like, oh, you're going to not only die, but none of this matters from the user perspective. Mm-hmm. And that freaks me out beyond belief, like beyond any type of fear. It just spikes.
What doesn't matter?
And why does it matter? Like, why does that freak you out?
Well, from the user experience, right? Like, from my perspective, I go to sleep, never wake up. That's it. The end.
There's nothing more. Pleasant death.
Well, this is, that's the worst case.
It could be a horrible car accident where it's all pain.
Right, well,
and then you're like, come on, please.
Let's
take out the horror of dying. Let's just talk about death.
The actual concept of death, the cessation of life.
Yeah, cease to be, whatever.
Right.
Forget the horrible, painful possibility of dying a scary, terrifying death. Let's just focus on the just not being anymore. Let's just focus on the you suddenly are not living.
God, it seems like such a comfort.
Is it?
Yeah.
It feels like a terrible, terrible curse. Like
no.
But why is it? Why do you fear it? Why do you fear it? Did you fear the time before you were born?
I don't remember the age before 4. So technically, between the age of 0 to 4, I was a fool. I was going to say more words about how. I guess I was going to say is when someone has amnesia and then they never will get their memory back. We discussed about this a long time back. I feel like they died because I think the only thing that makes them what they are is the memories of kind of the vague, puffy memories of the past. I'm getting too segue-ish, but basically, I fear it like no other. And it just hit me only a couple weeks, and it freaks me out. And my brain is just looking for a way to calm itself. And spirituality is like this, I don't know, this thing that you know you're not supposed to eat, but you eat anyway because it's comforting. Like, you know better. As an intellectual person, you should know better. As a lactose intolerant person.
So delicious.
This cheesecake, holy shit, is it good. And that's where I'm at right now. Because the alternative is just so shocking. I just can't get around it. That's my thought.
So is it that you have the fear of not existing, or is it that you won't be remembered? Like,
both.
What about the end is the frightening aspect? Is that you stop going, or that you feel if you aren't there to go, that you'll go away?
Really, it's both. But if I had to say one over the other, it's the no longer interacting in this world. No longer being able to make snide comments. No longer being able to just be a jerk and just be a terrible curse upon humanity. But
isn't that great though?
It is wonderful. These are the things that I live for, and that'll be gone.
But want your interactions with other beings that have this mortal coil around them, or your progeny, your family, isn't a bit of you carried on through them?
The narcissism of parents who have children simply to continue themselves.
No.
Oh my God, I have thoughts about this.
That's incredibly upsetting. I'm not saying that's the current situation. It's the impact that you have on other people's lives.
Okay.
That we have as social creatures. That we have dealing with the douche that cuts you off in traffic.
I think you
doesn't deserve to live.
Fucking Audi too.
I think it was a Ford, but
I think there's something wrong with the blinkers of Audis. I've never seen them functioning.
No, it's a problem with the drivers. They just don't know that little lever is there.
They don't have fingers.
It turns out that they're fish people.
Okay, I'm sorry. We're circling around here.
The cessation of interactivity is a fine fear to have, but your prior interactions will carry on. You will have that ripple in a pond effect.
Why I think that people write books, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of a cheat of death to be like, this is my philosophy, and I want it to be experienced beyond my demise, I guess. And you could read about people's thoughts many years ago. And they're alive again for that brief moment.
But they aren't.
Their ideas are.
Their want of how to present themselves is. When you're dealing with autobiographies, they're painting themselves in the best light, knowing that this is how they will be remembered. That is not how they actually,
How
did
other
everything.
people
Yeah.
saw them.
Thomas Edison created everything, he would say, except that's empirically not true.
But he bought out the rights of every other author.
Exactly.
It turns out that Hollywood
But
loves it.
he would portray it, and I'm sure there's an autobiography about him, because... Or not, whatever.
Self-importance.
But
That's what
he
it is.
would
It's
say...
all narcissism. It's all self-importance.
Right.
Phil, you're self-important and narcissistic. How dare
It's
you?
like you're...
Well,
Phil, how dare you be human?
Yeah, true.
I mean, I do enjoy the I guess the splendors of life, such as pressing the close button in an elevator so someone can't get in it, or cutting somebody off on the road.
You can push the close button, though, while you're riding it, and it'll skip floors.
That's hilarious. But because of the ADA, the close button does nothing.
My expression is just like, this is why.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, because of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the closing timer on doors is at a set time. The closed door button does absolutely nothing in terms of closing doors.
Yeah, but
Not
what
saying
it does.
Yeah.
It's a fire code.
Who?
The fireman can hit or hold the door close button. I think this is true. I could be wrong.
Well, usually there's that fireman override.
That's what it is. Is that you can hold the door close button and it skips any floors to.
Even if, 12th floor is hit, you're on the 8th floor, you can hold it and go to the 15th floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll experiment in that next time I'm in a building.
I mean, that's on fire. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, that's just higher than 5 floors.
Just don't. It's not really.
Is an alarm going to go off?
No, but it's a jerk dick move, man.
Maybe.
Maybe you should think about other people.
Have I showed you my new Audi? And also my name is Steve?
Hey, do you have fingers? Oh, look at those amputated little nubs. Anyway. God.
But back to spirituality.
Life, just don't be an asshole.
It is bullshit, but everyone has their own comforts in life, and I will never deny someone a comfort.
I mean, fair enough.
As long as they don't use their source of comfort as an entitlement to belittle or to degrade.
Disenfranchise, take away rights, looking at you, LGBT community.
Wait, are you saying that they're the villains or that they're the victims?
The people who are disenfranchised by religion.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was
Sorry, everyone.
Wait a minute.
Nope. Sorry, everyone.
You're showing that red color, okay.
Nope.
Donating to the cause so they can find the cure or something?
My apologies.
No. It's fine. It worked in brain. Just we were taking it from the other side of that.
Well, you know what? That's what other people are going to hear too.
Holy shit, you're a TERF.
No. I'm not, I promise.
So who did you vote for again?
Oh my god, not who you think I'm.
You're going to kick us out. Okay.
It wasn't Trump that was the driving force. It was Mike Pence as the backup.
This is economic history. Okay, god damn it. Let's circle this back to spirituality.
Right. Spirituality being bullshit and unnecessary.
But neither is a lot of things that we do in life.
Okay, no, wait. I didn't pose that it was unnecessary. Just said it was bullshit. Might be necessary. I could be wrong on that one.
Disagree about necessity.
You don't think so?
In terms of spirituality or religion itself being a necessity, I utterly disagree.
Okay, no, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
But especially on an individual's prerogative. I don't think it's necessary to function in a society. However, I've met people who will, swear to me on their mother's grave, kind of swearing, you know what? If they didn't have God, they would be out there raping and murdering people.
No.
See, okay, part of me is do I believe them? Are they really that horrible on the inside that they need God to not do these horrible things? Part of me is okay, believe the things that people tell you about themselves, because people will tell you about themselves, they will. But at the same time, I'm are you really, are you for real? Are you really telling me that you would be out there raping and murdering people if you didn't have God and God's not telling? Because that freaks me out. That is scarier to me than.
But that's their justification for why their silly person in the sky watching over them needs to exist.
Is it though? That's what I mean. It's of course, obviously,
there's
no one here who's that extreme, but
right. But it's their justification. Because it is such a silly far-fetched thing.
Are they that person though? I'm asking, obviously nobody, because no one here is that insane.
It might have been true 2,000 years ago when there wasn't when there wasn't a structure of consequences.
Cake?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like, if you don't have a system in place that punishes poor behavior, it will allow poor behavior to happen. Where you could have highwaymen on some country road hiding in the tree that is very okay with murder if they get what they need in the end, because their sense of justice isn't there. Because the technology isn't there, because it's in a remote area. It's why we have serial killers.
No consequence, and
right.
They're just... Well, okay, that's a difference.
No, but...
Serial killers are a totally different thing than a highwayman who's like, I need to rob these people to survive, or whatever.
Fair.
Serial killers are...
It was a generality that
I need to murder and these people because I'm sick.
Religion itself had a built-in sense of consequences where it's very easy to get what I want if I just murder people that are in my way.
Except when people murder you back because
consequences. There's reprisal, but then there's also the survival of the fittest mentality in society.
Yeah. That doesn't, Which is why Skycake exists
for
the people who aren't quite as fit, maybe.
So the people that say, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious, want that sense of justice, but they don't want it to come from a specific source, that it is something bigger than them that is encouraging good behavior for proper results.
Isn't that what government is? Supposed to be?
It's not government, it's just society. Yeah. It's in order to deal with other people, we need a system of consequences.
A social contract.
Yeah.
Government.
Right.
Society.
And you didn't have that thousands of years ago because you lived in a town of 20 people, and that's where you lived and died.
I think it's incredibly important to have a structural moral system for those that don't want to think for themselves, right? Like
that's
laws.
No, laws
are
laws.
Yes, that's laws.
We've decided
that's why some laws are dumb.
Basically, religion is law, just with some wooey shit.
Yeah.
And fear of.
You're held accountable by an all-powerful being that created everything, or you're held accountable by a jury of your peers.
I'm going to argue it this way. It's okay for people to kill other people, random people that they don't know. Well, not maybe random, but different people.
This is a hypothesis?
No, it's just a thing when it comes to societal expectations that the context is okay. So I've always thought that World War I was very strange, where you have the sons of like bakers and, street cleaners and what have you as far as an industry goes. And they ship them to a different continent, and then they fight. And it seems like, why is any of this? Why does this make sense? Why, as a person who should just be at their home with their loved one, have a shitty rifle and stay in a trench and get shot at by other people who'd rather be at home with their loved ones, and etc.? And it always made me laugh that the people at each tier have more in common with each other than their people below and above them. So the trench people had more in common with each other. The pilots had more in common with them. The officers had more in common with that. The politicians had more in common with their politicians. And when it comes to this concept of like, it's easy to trick people to do this thing because you're giving them a structure that says, all right, well, you know what? This is for what we do as a society. And then somehow people just kind of agree. Like, well, if I don't do this, I don't know. Well,
because it's the authority.
And that is where these hooks exist. So that's not enough for many people, right? Like, well, I don't really care about the law because the law doesn't... What's in it for me, guys, right? But religion is really compelling if you get them at a young age, like cigarettes, right? That is something that is like indoctrinated, ingrained, and hard to get rid of. In fact, only I would say those that have clear presence of mind or had something terrible done upon them could kind of take the 2 steps back to realize, hey, this is kind of silly, guys. Why are we shooting at other people? And then they would be considered the odd ones out, right? Even though they're rationally the ones that are right.
And of the Christmas soccer game.
Right. And then like, okay, well, you guys stop actually being human and start shooting each other again. And then they were able to do that after a few rotations. The idea that religion doesn't shape people's context is wrong. It does. It just is another hook to get people to do what we want them to do.
And I'm arguing that it's bullshit.
I'm arguing that it's a necessary evil.
So
is it evil?
it is a bit kind of like...
It's coercive.
It is coercive. It is against their best interest, and it's also...
Not necessarily against their best interest. Religion has some benefits. I'm not saying... I'm taking a step on the other side here, but...
You turncoat.
I'm a traitor.
Fast to be devil's advocate.
Hey, I'm not even being devil's advocate. I am just self-aware, and I understand that there are some benefits to religion. There are. It's definitely a great motivational tool. I just don't think it's necessary for... I think it's... Well, okay. I don't think it's necessary for everyone. I think it might be necessary for some people. Maybe. I don't know, because I don't know their minds, but... I don't think it's necessary for morality. I don't think humans, as I would hope they are, need religion or spirituality to exist and function as a good person. I think that can just be something that people can find within themselves. But I also understand that religion is an easy way to convince people to do things that might not be good.
What do you find is more impactful on impressionable youth? Something like Aesop's Fables or something like biblical allegories?
I don't know, honestly. Couldn't tell you.
Because they both serve as moral stories of good and bad ways to deal with certain situations in very loose metaphorical senses.
I think Aesop's a little more on the... I think there's actual moral... The storyline is obvious in Aesop's Fables.
What weight does Aesop have over Skycake?
You mean the good book?
Sure.
Skycake.
But
Any Skycake, really.
But it's... They strive for the same purpose, but one has...
Similar purposes.
Similar purposes, not the same. True. But one has, the weight of the all-powerful authority behind it.
Yeah. Whereas Aesop's is, hey, find those intrinsic values.
Yeah,
do
Aesop
good
is
for good's sake, or
be a fucking human.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. Maybe do good things because it'll benefit you in the long run. Whereas, hey, God's like, hey, do good things. It'll benefit you in the long run, but in the long run, in this mystical place you don't know about, in this bullshit story yarn I'm spinning for you.
But it's, to wrap it up, spirituality and its more authoritarian cousin, religion, are bullshit, but they have their place, for good or for ill, in society.
Maybe.
It gives you a community, it gives you a focal point.
Can't you do that without it, though?
But it's another thing. I watch Marvel movies, you worship Jesus.
I don't. But okay.
You don't watch Marvel movies? Why don't you watch Marvel movies? This is ridiculous.
No, it's me. I haven't watched it since Winter Soldier.
I watch Marvel movies. He worships Jesus, clearly.
Well, you can't do both. That's clearly documented and evidenced by the box office, where the movie Jesus completely bombed.
No, I'm pretty sure there's two of us here who are pretty solidly on the atheist, non-spiritual track, and then there's one of us who's spiritual but not really sure.
The narcissistic fear of death. Come on, Phil.
Hey. Thanks, guys, and see you guys later.
Oh, all right, fine. Bye, guys. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.